Neurodivergent versus neuroaverage. Different brains, different blueprints. We often talk about intelligence as if it were a single road, one smooth highway where speed and efficiency equal brilliance. But the truth is more complex. Human intelligence is not one road. It is a network of highways, side streets, alleyways, and back routes all getting somewhere, but through radically different terrain. Two broad categories emerge when you look at the architecture of the mind, what we might call the neuroaverage brain and the neurodivergent brain. The first represents the societal standard, the smooth road engineered for consensus. The second represents alternative paths, jagged, scenic, nonlinear, often dismissed as detours, but in reality, routes to discoveries the main highway could never reach. This chapter explores both, not as medical categories, not as pathologies, but as functional operating systems, each with its own strengths, limitations, and evolutionary role. The neuroaverage brain, the consensus machine. A neuroaverage brain is wired to fit seamlessly into the structures of society. It processes social cues fluidly, navigates ambiguity with comfort, and prioritizes harmony. Its strength is not in extremes but in balance. Core features: pattern smoothing. Neuroaverage wiring excels at resolving contradictions socially rather than logically. If two people say conflicting things, the neuroaverage brain looks for compromise. Energy allocation. It distributes energy evenly across tasks, enough focus for work, enough for relationships, enough for recreation. Flexibility. Neuroaverage brains are adaptive. They can learn new environments without requiring radical restructuring. Consensus orientation. They are comfortable in groups, motivated by social acceptance, and skilled at aligning with norms. Strengths. Excellent in environments where cooperation, diplomacy, and social intuition are required. Able to juggle multiple priorities without collapsing into hyperfixation. More resistant to burnout, since energy is spread across many functions. Limitations. Less likely to produce radical breakthroughs because breakthroughs require divergence from consensus. More prone to conformity bias, the desire to be right with the group rather than right before the group. Can overlook details invisible to the collective lens. The neuroaverage brain is civilization's stabilizer. It keeps the system running smoothly. It is not designed to leap ahead, but to sustain. The neurodivergent brain, the specialist system. A neurodivergent brain is wired differently. Instead of smoothing contradictions, it amplifies them. Instead of spreading energy evenly, it channels intensity into specific domains. It does not blend seamlessly into consensus. It questions it, resists it, or ignores it entirely. Core features: hyperfocus. Energy is concentrated on narrow domains, sometimes to the exclusion of everything else. Logic fidelity. The neurodivergent brain struggles to tolerate contradictions. Where neuroaverage wiring glosses over gaps, neurodivergent wiring demands resolution. Pattern intensity. These brains detect structures and anomalies others miss in numbers, systems, behaviors, or environments. Nonlinear processing. Ideas emerge in leaps, associations, or abstractions, often incomprehensible to others until explained. Strengths. Capable of extreme breakthroughs in domains requiring precision, endurance, or abstraction. High tolerance for complexity. Thrives where others disengage. Often produces original insights because it resists groupthink. Limitations. Struggles in social navigation, where nuance and compromise override logic. Prone to burnout if energy is not directed into matched domains. May appear rigid, obsessive, or out of sync with societal rhythms. The neurodivergent brain is civilization's edge pusher. It destabilizes, questions, and innovates. Without it, societies stagnate. With it, societies advance. How the wiring works: energy allocation. Think of human cognition as an economy of energy. A neuroaverage brain distributes energy across many small tasks: conversation, multitasking, adaptation. A neurodivergent brain invests disproportionately into one or two domains, hyperfocus at the expense of balance. Neuroaverage operating system. Good enough across multiple functions. Neurodivergent operating system. World-class in one or two, often clumsy in others. Neither is superior. They are different allocation strategies. One preserves stability, the other produces disruption. Abilities in action. Precision versus harmony. Neuroaverage excels at social harmony, smoothing conflict, reading the room, adapting to vague instructions. Neurodivergent excels at precision, noticing flaws in arguments, inconsistencies in systems, or patterns hidden in chaos. Short-term versus long-term vision. Neuroaverage minds thrive in short cycles, quarterly goals, social routines, incremental progress. Neurodivergent minds thrive in long arcs, multi-year obsessions, unanswered questions, unresolved mysteries. Breadth versus depth. Neuroaverage wiring favors breadth, versatility across domains. Neurodivergent wiring favors depth, mastery within a narrow range. Both approaches are evolutionary strategies. Breadth ensures survival in changing conditions. Depth ensures breakthroughs when conditions stagnate. Pros and cons of each neuroaverage pros. Social integration, smooth communication, group alignment. Flexible under uncertainty. Better suited for environments where fitting in is the success metric. Neuroaverage cons. Risk of mediocrity in specialized domains. Vulnerability to conformity, even when the group is wrong. Lower tolerance for individuals who do not fit the norm. Neurodivergent pros. Specialized mastery, often reaching extraordinary levels. Ability to see what others ignore, resistance to social illusions, demands coherence. Neurodivergent cons. Social isolation due to mismatch with majority rhythms. Higher rates of stress, burnout, or trauma when unsupported. Difficulty functioning in rigidly structured, conformity-driven environments. Frustration as precision. One of the most misunderstood traits of divergent minds is frustration. To outsiders, it looks like irritability, anger, or rigidity. But inside, it functions more like a system error warning. The brain has encountered input that contradicts its logic or structure. Where the neuroaverage brain shrugs and smooths contradictions close enough, the divergent brain stalls. It cannot proceed without coherence. This intolerance for contradiction is the same trait that makes daily life difficult but scientific discovery possible. Refusal to accept good enough is the engine of breakthroughs. Tools that match the wiring. Every brain is an instrument. The tragedy is when the wrong instrument is placed in the wrong hands. A divergent child who thinks in images is mislabeled distracted until given visual software to translate thought into output. A divergent teenager who loops logic endlessly is called obsessive until handed mathematical or coding problems, where loops are the point. A divergent adult who questions everything is called rigid until placed in systems design, law, or engineering, where that questioning saves lives. Neuroaverage children thrive in classrooms built for breadth and social fluency. Neurodivergent children thrive when handed tools that allow depth. Matching wiring to instrument is the difference between dysfunction and genius. Evolutionary brain's nature does not produce waste. Every wiring has purpose. The neuroaverage brain stabilizes groups, ensures cooperation, and prevents fragmentation. It is the glue of civilizations. The neurodivergent brain disrupts, innovates, and refuses illusions. It is the hammer that breaks stagnation. Together, they form balance. One keeps us surviving. The other keeps us evolving. The square and the circle. To force a divergent brain into neuroaverage functioning is like demanding a square roll like a circle. It is not built for that motion. Conversely, asking a neuroaverage brain to sustain obsessive hyperfocus is like asking a circle to stack. It is not designed for that shape. Squares and circles are not better or worse. They are different. Civilization requires both. The square to stack civilizations upward, the circle to roll forward into new territory. Toward true recognition. The greatest tragedy is not that neurodivergent individuals struggle. The tragedy is that society still misframes them. Instead of cultivating their wiring, we force them into mimicry of the majority. Instead of building systems that recognize diversity of cognition, we punish deviation from the mean. What would shift if we stopped measuring all intelligence against the neuroaverage ruler? What if, instead of fixing divergence, we leveraged it? What if schools and workplaces were designed not to homogenize, but to specialize? We might discover that brilliance is not rare. It is simply misallocated. Conclusion: cognitive diversity as civilization's engine neuroaverage and neurodivergent are not hierarchies. They are complementary designs. One smooths the path, the other breaks it open. One maintains cohesion, the other demands coherence. The challenge is not to decide which is better. The challenge is to finally recognize that different wiring means different functions. The neuroaverage brain excels at keeping the system running. The neurodivergent brain excels at redesigning the system entirely. When both are respected, civilizations balance. When only one is valued, civilizations stagnate. The future belongs not to sameness, but to cognitive diversity. The sooner we understand this, the sooner we stop pathologizing difference and start building with it.